to make.
Yeah.
Cool. What was your favorite? What was your favorite memory from the show?
My favorite memory from the show. Oh man. I mean, it's like, it's so tough because there's so many of them. I mean, I really, I loved when we were all around the table and we all played off of each other. That was awesome. I liked, my thing with Tig. I liked, the fight scene because I like to fight with people. So that was fun. There's just a thing, I don't know, there's a synergy that goes on when people really get each other, and that was all great. I mean, riding bikes were awesome, getting on and taking off were awesome. I think, some of my favorite memories is like not on the set shooting, but, off, because all we did is wrestle. Like, if we had all day long, again, me and Charlie and Boone constantly fought each other, and, Charlie's and then we had a punching bag in the clubhouse. So the competition was who had the strongest punch. Yeah. And out of everybody, and I'm talking every extra, every real biker, if it's 300 or 400 pounds or whatever, would punch the bag to get the pounds per pressure. And Charlie had the record, and he could hit hard. He's long and lanky. And so I set the record left-handed, and I did it on a hook. Right-handed, I got second. Charlie got first, and this is out of probably hundreds of people that have tried for years. Yeah. And so me and Charlie were first and second. I was first left. He was first right. I was second right. But he would wind up and come running with an overhand right. Mine was standing in a standing position with my fist up, turning my hips and coming straight into it. And I almost got about the same as him, which was about somewhere around 1,000 and something pounds of pressure.
Bloody hell.
About 1,050 or something like that. So it was like, maybe a little more than that, but it was as much as professionals do.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I'll probably get about 50 pounds. That's awesome. How did you manage to end up on SOA in the first place?
Well, Sutter, who created the show, was one of the executive producers and writers of The Shield. Yeah. And I was there for the 5 years. And my famous scene at the end of the 5th season of The Shield is I get blown up by my best friend, which is Shane, with a grenade. And Kurt wrote that scene. And, the thing about the writers on The Shield were they were so passionate about what they did, and they were very competitive. So I remember... I'm not going to use his name, but there was another guy in him, and they had two different versions of what they wanted, and they both show ran it with Sean, and they got in a fist fight over it, and they had to break them up in the room because they were that passionate about why they felt what they felt. They ended up being a fist fight, which is great, and Kurt ended up getting his way. So he had talked to me about doing a biker show, but I went from my show to a show with Holly Hunter for 3.5 years, and so they had started up SOA during that time. So the day, 3.5 years later, they canceled Saving Grace. When they announced it in the papers, he called me up, and he says, how'd you like to come play with the big boys? And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. I said, because I'd gone to all of his screenings and everything, and I was a big supporter of those guys. And so he just said, let me intro you at the end of season 2. I know you're finishing your show up, and season 3 come on, and we'll go from there. And if it all works out, I'll make you a series regular season 4, and you'll be on the show. And things kind of changed for reasons I don't want to talk about, but they changed, and there we are. So that was it.
All right, excellent.
Yeah.
Was Kurt then the last words of Herman in Sons of Anarchy? Was that an inside joke then?
Yeah, exactly. No, he made me do one take for the gimmick reel where I heard the thing go like that. I knew it was a mine, and I turn and I go, Shane. Yeah. Shane, and I scream out Shane, and then I blow up. So he did one of those, and then he did the other ones like, you gotta be shitting me, which to me was like, number one, I couldn't believe he was killing me because he didn't need to, and number two, it was kind of like an homage to the whole thing because he wrote the other scene where I got blown up with a grenade.
Excellent.
Not really, but...
Well, no, but
Yeah.
Nice bit of irony there. And
Yeah. That's what he thought.
Yeah. Okay, you mentioned Tiggs as well, obviously Kim Coates. You both had some interesting scenes together with a lot of tension. What was it like to work with Kim and shoot those scenes between you until you finally ready to be accepted again by Tiggs?
It was kind of interesting because Kim didn't want to do his own fight scenes, and he'll argue in front of a crowd of 1,000 people like, Johnson, you're making this up. That's bullshit. I'm like, no. He begged me not to do a fight scene.
All right. Okay.
He says, look, we're at an age we don't need to fight. This is what stuntmen are for. And I'm like, dude, I box. I've been an athlete my whole life. I'm doing my own fights. I've never had a stuntman. Cool. He's like, what are you talking about? So we argued, and then finally he realized I was not going to back down. So he's like, fine, let's freaking do this. That's fine. So we rehearsed it like about 50 times, and in the very last take, we had a thing where after the fight we run up, and we like two bulls jump into each other, and they freeze there and cut away. And I just happened to go to the left, and I had my arm up, and I had it really relaxed. And it caught him under the neck, and he dropped, and he started screaming like I had hit a dog or something. He was wailing, and I thought he was joking. He's down there screaming at the top of his lungs, and I'm looking down like, is he joking or not joking? But apparently, I don't know what I did to him, but yeah. And then it got to like he jumped up and started swearing at me, and like oh yeah, all this shit. And then I started getting madder. Like, dude, you get my face one more time, I'm gonna hit you.
Yeah.
So we had it was fun because we had a love-hate relationship, and it worked like that. Like when I first started, they said like Kim likes to improvise and he'll steal a lot of your lines, and I'm like, well, what are you talking about? So then we'd be doing a scene together, and information he doesn't know, as he's doing his lines, he'd improvise my lines. And he would somehow psychically know all the information I was going to give to him that he's not supposed to know.
Right.
And I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? He goes, what are you talking about, Johnson? What? I said, you're saying all my own stuff. So I go to the director. I go, look, dude, let him do his own monologue. I don't want to be in the scene because they wrote the scene for me to share this with him. Yeah. He doesn't know. But if he's going to say all my lines, what am I doing in the scene? And so they'd talk to him, and he'd still do it. And I'm like, Kim, you're doing all my freaking lines, dude. You're saying things that you are not supposed to know.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, Johnson. All right. Yeah, we'll try to stick to the line. And I'm like, oh my God. I go, So I dealt with that with him a lot, which was good because it made me pissed off at him.
Yeah.
And so he was a really nice guy in person. He's a Canadian dude, nicest guy in the world, but he really ticked me off.
Yeah.
So it was worked between our characters because we had that history,
Awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, okay, another off the wally one. If you had to live on a desert island with one of your Sons of Anarchy cast members for 1 year with just each other for company, who would it be and why? Maybe not Kim.
Yeah. No, there's two. No. One, there's two. I gotta say flat out. Charlie Hunnam's a really good friend of mine. Charlie and I are very competitive. We love to work out. I love the way he thinks. He's a really smart guy. He's super driven in life, and everything about him is awesome and loves to explore things. Ryan Hurst is one of my best friends, like a soulmate. Like he literally has become my best friend in my life right now. And he's on Bates Motel with me, and he and I like we do Kundalini together, which sounds whatever, but he's one of my best friends in real life. So to me, Ryan, but he's not. I don't know if he'd be doing the same workouts. He'd be wanting to meditate and all that all the time. Where Charlie would be like, competitive to do stuff, And so if it was a year, I would think Charlie would be like a boot camp for a year. If it was Ryan, it would be like going to India for a year, learning spiritual enlightenment. You know what I mean? So there we are. There's two guys.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I wouldn't want a boot camp for a year if you're stuck on a desert island. Well, mind you, you want to keep yourself fit and healthy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you'd come out of it looking like Arnie.
Yeah.
best shape of your life.
I know, right?
Okay, moving on to Bates Motel. Obviously, that's a cracking, another top series, which is 5 seasons now. It's just coming out.
5th season, yeah. Just won People's Choice Award.
Well done.
It just won.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, Vera won Best Actress and Freddie won Best Actor. So it was good because we normally get snubbed by like Golden Globes and Emmys, and it's such a brilliantly written film, and everyone's acting chemistry seems to be so spot on that I'm always bummed that it's not. But I love the fact that people voted and it was the people's choice. And to me, that's kind of like worldwide. I'm like, yay. I'm like, I'm more happy just for the cast and crew and everyone that puts in so much work, and the writers and creators, because it's a dope show,
Oh God, it is, yeah, definitely. And like you say, the people's choices, it shows what the people want. I mean, the Golden Globes, as good as they all are, and all the Oscars, obviously, they are the epitome of what what you guys do as actors. But the people's award, that's the one which the people vote for, and that's what people, so you know straight away that people love it.
It's a cool thing. It's a cool thing, yeah.
That was a long-winded way for me to say that then.
No, it's cool. You said it perfect.
Cool. I mean, you started off obviously just as a recurring role in season 2 with Caleb. How did you feel when you got informed that you're now becoming one of the main people in it from season 3?
Well, it was pretty awesome. I mean, when I, it was like this girl, Alex Cunningham, who created a show called Prime Suspect with Maria Bello, and it was a famous English show with Helen Merriman. So they converted it into a a New York cop series, and I played Maria's boyfriend, live-in boyfriend, who was an architect, and the lady who created that did it with Peter Berg, and she wrote the role for Caleb. She wrote the role and called me up and said, "This is what I'm doing. I'm writing a role for you." And she goes, "To play Vera's brother, and I think you'd be perfect for it." And she goes, "I'm going to pitch it to Carrie and Carlton, and I have no power over whether they're going to go for it or not, but just know that I'm writing this with you in mind." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I got a call I don't know, about a week and a half later from Carrie saying, we're offering you the role. So I was like jumping up and down. And then when she told me the storyline, I was even more ecstatic, And then when I thought about it, I thought, oh, wow, that's going to be a challenging thing to overcome. I'm like, what they set it up as. So I knew when I came in, I'm like, that's really weird because it was always meant for 3 episodes and then it was never going to be talked about again. And I'm like, Max, who's an awesome actor, you drop a bomb, everybody finds out, and then all of a sudden I'm gone and you never address it again. And I kept thinking, that's kind of weird and it doesn't really make sense. I go, they dropped a bomb on the show. How can you never talk about it again, In my head I thought that, and Vera was thinking the same thing. So she kept saying, she goes, the first scene I did with her, she goes, "You know what? You should be on the show." She goes, I'm going to write those guys right now and tell them that I think you should be on the show because how could they drop this and not do anything with it, And then between then and the end of the season, Carlton had thought about it and Carrie, and Carlton called me up and said, I'm going to offer you a series regular to come on for the season because your character came off kind of so cool and creepy and something about him was so awesome that I liked that I want to explore that. Would you come back and be a series regular? And, and he did. He offered it straight up, and there we went. And I had to leave for most of 4 because of they thought that I would have known too much inside information not to kind of address it in front of people. So I needed to just disappear. And then season 5, which is coming out in about 26 days, I've got some of the dopest stuff they've ever written for me. And Ryan Hurst is some of the best stuff. And Vera and Freddie. It is really cool. I think it's just such a special, far out there wild season. It's going to be so crazy. It's really cool. And Rihanna came on this year to play the Marion Crane character, who gets stabbed in the original in the so she came on and did her thing, and it's really great. So I was so stoked. I was so psyched.
Awesome. It must be a great feeling. Let's say because the show itself is very unique. Like you said before, the DP for it was on the X-Files, and you can see that in the way it's filmed. The way the way things have been set up, the way the suspense is, the lighting, everything. It's just very, very it just draws you right in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got to say one thing about Freddie Highmore, too, who I love to death. And he's such a nice kid, and he's brilliant with what he does. If you ever saw the original movie Psycho, and you saw what Anthony Perkins did with